2 balls, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive, left field. It's deep. It's going, yes! And it is gone!
Yes!
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
Are you kidding me?
I've never heard you that loud. What
Hey.
the heck? Oh, there was that one night.
Well, a night to remember or forget, whichever way
you know what? Nobody is kidding you. But it feels like it, doesn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's insane. What is there, Wiz?
It's unreal. It's a dream come true. You don't think this could happen. You never think it could happen, and here we are.
Not this way.
We're ready to go to the World Series.
No way. It's anything really can happen. You know, look at the Phillies. It is, and therefore they could beat the Astros. No doubt about it.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
It just seems like the stars are aligned. It's fate.
Have you drawn yet a comparison with the 217 Eagles with the 62-yard field goal? A lot of things that went right there.
Oh, yeah. How about the ball hitting second base?
Yeah, right. That's where I
funny
think,
little things like that.
That's where I think Philadelphia sports fans started to draw comparisons to the Stars and Galaxies. And a couple other things, too, by the way. There were some balls hit that looked like home runs. They came down at the track against the wall. And the announcer like, put that off the bat. You see the dugout, look at each other like, that ball should have carried more, but it didn't. It was, there was Soto in the sun, the other day. I mean, just crazy stuff. But here we are, and we're in the World Series, and I don't think any of us predicted that.
No. Who'd ever thunk it?
No one.
Yeah.
All right, so this is speaking of sports, guys. Welcome, and
howdy.
For anyone new, there's a couple announcements here. Our website, as always, is speakingofsportspod.com. Our Twitter, the Speaking of Sports Podcast. But we are now on Instagram, officially on TikTok. So check us out there. We have a lot of really cool clips. We're going to be posting some stuff. Our Instagram is speaking_of_sports, and our TikTok is at Speaking of Sports.
Wiz, how are Al and I supposed to track all this stuff? People ask us when we're out this weekend, how do I find you guys?
I'll give him Chad's phone number. Simple as that.
Al says to people at the Capitol Grill, a bunch of people, we love your, how do we find you? And Al says, call Chad. And I go, Al, we're supposed to know this. So Al turns to me and says, will you tell these people how to get a hold of us? I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Speaking of sports. Yeah.
It starts with the website. You'll go to the website, speakingofsportspod.com. You'll find basically all the rest of it. But the TikTok, the Instagram, all the new stuff. And that's where the TikTok I'm excited about. That's where we're going to get a lot of traction, hopefully.
How do we do this weekend, Mr. Data?
We did good. Our videos have been awesome. We're just going to keep growing that channel, try to get that follower base up, and get some maybe daily stuff down the line up there about stats and facts. Cool. Stuff like that aren't worthy of a whole podcast, but 2-3 minutes on something, no problem.
What's good? Quantify good.
About 20,000 on each video.
Hello.
We'll take it. We'll take it for sure.
Yeah.
That's larger than the crowds before the Phillies started really playing great ball.
It definitely is.
All right, so can we just cut right to the proverbial chase? Because how long it's going to be before we start saying, did he give us, the Padres manager, Bob Melvin, give us the greatest? Now, is it the greatest gift in Philadelphia sports history, a managerial move, non-move that backfired, that we record and timestamp and say, that's it, that's the one? Nothing else really jumps out. We're probably oversighting something else, right?
You would think, but just in the last X amount of years, that's by far the biggest.
Yeah, without comparison, and nobody. I mean, we're texting inside our thread. What did I say? I put out a quote that the only reason Josh Hader spent the night at the Four Seasons was to face Harper right now. That's the only reason he's in town. Now
you were referring to one of the 60 texts you sent me during that game, or the 30 into one inning.
Al says, he pulls a batter on me. He says, don't you have finger, whatever you call the...
No, I want to know how big a callus there is
nothing like
on your
a lot
finger.
of good baseball input that, ruin a guy's afternoon,
All right, well, if we're on the topic, since we're going to dive right into that, let's at least look at the numbers behind it.
Right, let's do it.
So Robert Suarez, 31-year-old righty. He's a rookie, actually. 2.27 ERA this year in 47 innings pitched. So, look, he's been very good.
He's been great.
Against lefties, against righties, you name it, he's been very consistent. 2.3 ERA versus righties, 2.2 versus lefties. Batting average, 170 versus righties, 180 versus lefties. He's been phenomenal all year. And then you have Josh Hader, who going into this year was easily the best closer in baseball, and you could call him one of the toughest pitchers to face in all of baseball history when he was on. And then early in the for the whole middle 2022 season, he kind of fell apart. And he was really bad for 2-3 months. And then all of a sudden, September, he's back to his old self. So if you look at his 2022 numbers, they're all over the place. He's a 5 ERA versus righties, 4 versus lefties. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He was way off.
Now.
And then he was amazing in September. I don't think he's given up a run in over 40 days. His last outings, October 19th versus the Phillies, 1 inning, 3 strikeouts. Versus the Dodgers, 1 inning, 3 strikeouts on October 15th. Before that, 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. He's been phenomenal ever since. And so you look at Harper's hitting 300 versus righties. He's slugging OPS of 925 versus righties this year. And against lefties, he's hitting 256. His OPS is 776 versus lefties. He is a totally different hitter, righties versus lefties this year. One of them's an MVP candidate, and one of them's maybe an all-star game.
And everybody knows that.
And everyone knows that.
So does Melvin. Melvin in the
Everyone
Blue
knows
Notes. Bob Melvin in the Blue Notes.
So, yes, Robert
Harold.
Suarez has been phenomenal this year. He's done good. If you look at Robert Suarez against a lefty, you think, hey, this guy's fine.
Yep.
But Bryce Harper is not your average lefty.
Nope.
Bryce Harper's an MVP candidate. He is the absolute leader on this team. He's hitting 400 in the playoffs. This is one guy where you can't look at the lefty stats and think they apply to Harper because they don't.
And when the numbers cross each other out respectfully, throw the book out, Joe Girardi, and go with a game feel. And I'm not going to bring it back to our dugout, but we won a lot more games when we had to go to game feel versus what we had data. Of course, we didn't always have trends, right? But in that situation, you have a Randy Johnson throwing to Kruk. Now, I know it was an all-star game, so the shenanigans were part of his whole shtick. But, what Kruk said was I had no chance. So if you got that lefty Hader on Harper right there, Harper has a chance. He's not John Kruk right there. But that's neutralizing because when he's throwing the fastball that's sliding away and all that stuff, that's a nightmare for Harper. That's the match. You traded for talented younger players to get this guy.
Hader could pitch in that
so
situation.
Hader could be there. So we saw it setting up, and we were in the back and forth saying, why isn't Hader getting loose? And all of a sudden, JT leads off with a single. That's where you bring him in. So you invert it, coach, and you close in the 8th because here's why. Because you may not have a close situation in the 9th, but you do now. Instead, analytical mind only goes by that book and just totally kills. And then the bunt? Are you serious? But let's not go there yet.
Let's stay with Suarez.
Let's stay with Suarez.
The Padres' theory was get me 2 outs and then bring Hader in.
Yeah, too late.
Get me 2 outs and that theory had no context of who are you facing.
Right, exactly.
Do you want Josh Hader to face Bryce Harper or do you want him to face Brandon Marsh?
Yeah, come on. Yeah, you put your out dream ahead of the hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, get me the outs.
You put the theory of bring the closer in for 4 outs in the playoffs instead of the context of the best hitters are up right now. The middle of the lineup is up.
Would you circle more stupid, dumbass, or your own word? Which one do you circle?
He outthought himself. He managed like he was ahead 3-1 and not the Phillies. And here's the thing with Suarez. I checked yesterday with Suarez. He hasn't given up a run Oh, by the way, Chuck looks wonderful in his red scarf today.
Yeah,
Chad has a red shirt, and my tongue's red,
Yeah,
so we all have red.
I sent the boys to Dick's that it's pretty good to get all the. So Dean texts me, how many? I said buy whatever they've got, but they stopped selling it large. They said to tell Chuck to go to the Fat Man show. What the heck's going on here? They don't. They
Well,
discriminate.
maybe they thought you were like 8 or 9 years old. I have no idea.
Discriminate against the larger, more portly man or something. I don't know. That's my scarf. And
No, but back to Suarez. He had not given up a run. He had 19 straight appearances. He hadn't given up a run since August. So he thought in his mind, like I said, he had more confidence there that he could manage that way. I mean, it's just there's no way he's explaining to the San Diego people at all.
Yep. And Suarez has never given up a home run versus a lefty in his entire career. It's only 1 year career. He's a rookie. But Harper last night was the first in his entire career.
Yeah.
Well, he gave up the 2 runs yesterday to make his ERA 129 since August.
In the land of giants, there was one giant bigger than the others. And that was the guy that had to come in. Yeah, so you had other good options. And, to defer out and then explaining it, if I made that move. And I could never, but if I did, after the game, I'm in the media, ask me. Well, role play. What happened? Just ask me what happened.
What was your mindset by not bringing Hader in earlier?
No disrespect to the guy that I went with because he did a great job for this year. I blew it. A better matchup would have been Hader on that lefty. There's no doubt about it. And I'm going to probably spend the rest of my life defending that. That's one I'd like that back. Bingo.
Yeah.
Okay?
Be honest about it.
You're not throwing your pitcher under the bus, right?
I want Hader to come in for the 4-out thing, like Chad said. You can't be thinking that much ahead. And you're down 3 games to 1, and this is your life, your last shot here.
How badly do you want to get back and play 2 home games? Rather than trying to fight this one on the road. When you have the lead, bring in your guy to win the game.
And I think it may have been, I should stop calling people out by name because sometimes they don't reference the right person that makes some excellent points while we're going back and forth in the room that you say over text. But somebody said, I know who it is, that the more you use a bullpen guy, the more looks and experiences. You can have it on video all you want. It's not the same as facing a guy. So the more you see a relief pitcher is really, really talented, the better your chances are getting with these professional hitters. JT starts off with a single. If that happens to Wheeler after an unbelievable 3-hitter, what do we do? And now it's more pitches, but we pull him. His fastball wasn't down. It was down a mile an hour, okay? Oh, but you were a little bit more to the middle center cut. You're out. Talk about a quick hook on Wheeler. So JT leads off with a single. That's it. I'm going to Hader right then. I'm not letting another single take place or anything else. It's incomprehensible.
Well, Harper said he was looking on fastball.
Yeah.
And it was the outside part of the plate, and the way he went with it, you got to be really strong just to do that to left center. But he just knew in his mind he was going to get a fast. You got to hit it still.
Yeah. I hope right now our viewers are seeing, to put Jimmy on the spot, our producer, the pitching chart, and what you'll see is 7 pitches, 6 on the outside, black. All right? I mean, talk about control. So Harper's getting to judge 98 miles an hour. And it may sound foolish to us to say you get to time that better because we're not professional hitters. But to a professional hitter, seeing that repetition takes your whole hand-eye focus, timing, all that stuff, and it just tunes it in. And that's what I text out. He's not going to lose the at-bat. And then what do you think Harper says? Well, I got to look at 5 or 6, pitches on the outside, and he was it made it sound like he was comfortable with it. Right?
Well, I think Harper is comfortable with it.
Pretty
well, I'm
hard
going to give you an example.
He's that locked in right now and confident in himself.
Are we going to do the
the
batting cage? People have told me they think it's the greatest idea I ever had in sports.
What batting cage?
We talked about it last week, setting up the batting cage so people don't understand baseball can come face 100 in our batting cage and have a different perspective.
No one would hit it.
No, but I want him to see it. I want him to stand there with a helmet on, shoulder pads, the whole protection. Don't forget, a pitching machine's not going to hit him, right? Pitching machine
I'll throw it pretty consistent.
will hit a cigar box, 100 out of 100. It's coming out. I just want people that don't understand baseball, I'm dead serious, I'll pay for this, to come into Speaking of Sports batting cage. A lot of the guys on Sports Talk Radio, the hosts, that minimize baseball, what it is to hit 100 miles, please contact it. We will, if we have one person willing to do it, we'll set it up. Okay, it's not that expensive. We've got the pitching machine, bud, in our garage. Okay,
Yeah.
We will set it up, and you'll look at life through the lens of 100 mile an hour, not moving, not but it will hiss. And Harper says, I got comfortable with it. Are you kidding me? Letting me get comfortable?
Well, you remember the point I made to you yesterday, the day before, when Falder started off, and he got Soto, but Soto on his way back was passing Machado, and just said to him, "It's straight, it's straight."
Chad, like it's easy.
Like it's 96, but it's straight.
It is to them. If you're throwing something flat to a professional hitter and it's coming in straight like that, it is easy to them. I mean, why do we think Josh Hader was terrible in the middle of the season? He didn't start throwing 92. He was still throwing nearly 100 or 100, whatever he hits. He was flat. He had to be. Or his location was just right down the middle.
20 college stats. Welcome to mention the name here. The best player I ever played against. Watching a pitcher throw 70 in high school. And I'm talking to the scouts after the game. Kristen got a knock offer. It was a great situation. And we're talking to the scouts, and they were going like this, straight. And, but unbelievable second base, like All-American, but won't pitch in college. That was just straight. I'm going, you mean to tell me that that's 70 when the NCAA record was like 72 won't qualify her? No. It's the hitters will get on her. She's straight. Oh, you should have seen 70.
And folks, we're talking about fast pitch softball now.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but you should see what that looks like.
I was confused going 70 in high school for a baseball pitcher. I was
what
scouts are watching that guy.
I'm so paranoid at bringing up softball that I try to get to the point without setting the table. Yes, I'm sorry. I won't do that again. But you should see what that looked like, how fast it was. But it wasn't moving, so that would never be qualifying for college softball. But it's incredibly quick, 100. And these guys, we always say it's the hardest thing to do in sports. I don't know what's your knee jerk on what's comparable. What would be the second hardest thing to do? And don't say cornhole throwing the thing.
No.
What would be the second hardest thing to do? Quarterback in the NFL?
That might jump in there, but I never thought about it because the first was always obvious, trying to hit a round ball with a round bat, 98, 100 miles an hour.
It's the second thing playing Major League shortstop or catcher.
Catcher catching 100 every day.
How about that? Yeah, although JT and his one-hand picks at 100 when they bounce in the dirt out and he does this stuff.
His reflexes are amazing.
What do you hear this morning on the radio about JT sliding the block? What do you hear?
Yeah, it was said this morning they had Chris Coast on, the ex-Phillies backup catcher mostly and so forth back in the good years. And he mentioned in a really nice way, not derogatory at all, because he really thinks JT's the best catcher he's ever seen. But he wasn't sliding his body over. He was reaching. And with the weather conditions, and Sir Anthony had already thrown one or two in the dirt, you have to be thinking about that ahead of time, I guess. And I don't know as if he probably didn't have the target down that low, but it's just Sir Anthony was slipping a little bit on the mound or whatever. We went through that before about pitchers with the weather conditions and so forth. So.
I thought maybe JT could have caught one that gotten back at the top of the web. But that's what happens, man, when a ball gets away. And the catchers can't even react to it. That's how fast it is. I mean, it looks like it took the glove out of his hand. But so do we want to move on to the bunt? Or have we killed this topic here with that's
going to be the topic all over the place.
Yep. Let's talk about the bunt. Lead off.
It probably wasn't the worst idea, but with one out already. And I think the batter's thinking that if he gets it down the first base line because of the wet conditions, Hoskins was playing back.
Yeah.
And Ranger made a nice play with the turn and got him by a step. And now it doesn't look like a very good play at all because you just gave up your second out.
I'm just going to go knee-jerk when I saw it happen. So I'm just going to give you, I'm there right now. I'm watching the guy turn, and I just went, oh, my God, he lost the out count. Thinking he's on his own, obviously bunting for a base hit. Thinking that if I don't get the base hit, I move the runners over, so I'm screwed up any way you look at it. But when I thought that he gave up out number 2, analytics saying don't even bunt with no outs because you don't want to give up an out. And he just gave one to make it. So you got one chance. You have one chance now. And not the hitters up that you want, with one chance at the bottom of the San Diego order, it's unbelievable. If you put them on a scale, is there a baseball scale in America that talks about the worst baseball decisions you've seen, and we can weigh the two? Which one tips in what direction? Chad? The bunt or not bringing Hader in?
Not bringing Hader in. The bunt,
easy.
The bunt, I mean, at least what the Padres are saying was not a sack. It was trying to bunt for a hit.
Yeah.
And, if you get it down the line, and it's a base hit with the lefty coming off the mound. But Suarez was so prepared to field that mound. He wasn't falling over like a lot of pitchers do towards third base. He looks very, very balanced, almost like he just sensed it because his momentum is right. He's right in the middle. He's very balanced.
Yeah.
So that's a really, I think, impressive component of that play. How Ranger made
to our
that.
listeners how the lefty will go to the opposite side.
Well, I mean, naturally,
Yes.
a lefty is releasing it from like first to home.
Right.
They're going to fall towards third base.
On wet grass.
Yeah, so you're falling towards third. Means if you put a bunt down first, you're going to probably have a really tough play because you got to break your momentum, go to the bag, and try to, or get the ball towards first base bag and get that throw in there.
And throw a wet baseball.
Yeah, and then maybe lob it because he's coming in at a weird angle. It's an underhand toss. Not a great angle, but he pulled it off, and I believe it was probably trying to bunt for a base hit. I just can't see a coach trying to do a sack bunt
they've
there.
all agreed to that. Yeah,
That would just be a terrible decision to do a sack with one out.
Yeah, I agree. But the left-handers, like you said, really fall off towards third base a lot. But Ranger comes straight ahead, and he's known as an excellent fielding pitcher, and it really showed on that play.
And they got scouting reports and video, and there's one guy in the scouting report that does nothing but cover the pictures where they end up, so they know that he doesn't go over the third base side. I think what you're asking the hitter to do, notwithstanding the conditions, the wet ball, and all that stuff, you're still saying to the hitter, put down a perfect bunt. We used to say the Bermuda Triangle for Chris. If she was in that Bermuda Triangle, it was safe. There's no play on her. You got to put down a perfect bunt. If it's anywhere back to him, it is a little bit down the line, and he makes a great play. So let's hats off to Suarez making a great play, not that close at first, wet baseball, a lot of poise to execute everything that's required there. You got to get over, get a grip. You got to get you got to field it. You got to turn. You got to get the grip on the baseball and get it there, right? And then you got to say a prayer, novena, that Hoskins doesn't drop it. Right?
I knew you were going to go there.
Yeah. For the people saying they were bunting because they thought Hoskins would mess it up, he's not in the play. When he's back, the pitcher's got left. If he beats the pitcher, he's safe. Hoskins is not the one fielding that ball. The only way Hoskins would field that bunt is if he overpowers, energizes the bunt on the barrel, pokes at it, and hits a ball to Hoskins hit, fairly hard. He would catch it and touch first base, of course. Otherwise he's not fielding that bunt. So they're not trying to take advantage of Hoskins' defensive woes.
I'm just curious in that I think it was Grisham, a left-hander, against a left-handed pitcher. So maybe confidence factor about the bunt.
Get it down there. Yeah. Or if you beat the pitcher, it's in the pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Second baseman's not going to come up and make the play. That's just not what I would have done. Just not what I would have done.
And with a wet field, like just put the ball in play and try to make something happen. Not a bunt though. Make him hit the ball hard somewhere. Try to at least get on the ground hard. Make something happen.
Could be wrong. I think he had 3 home runs in the playoffs. If you look it up,
Grisham.
Yeah, I think he had 3 home runs. I could be wrong on that.
He stinks, though, that's for sure.
Yeah,
overall, he hit 184 this year.
Yeah, what were your other options to match a righty up there? You had the Phillies catcher on the bench. He was healthy. Alfaro, is it?
Alfaro, yeah.
Batted .246 this year. That's above Major League norm, of .243. So would you take a chance with the righty versus having a left-hander do that? Because obviously what he's saying, he's pulling a crook. He's telling his manager, I don't like my chances to swing. Well, as soon as I hear that, as soon as you tell me, hey, coach, I think I want to put a bunt down, I may be grabbing the next guy up to swing the bat. I 1 out, and you're going to try to put a perfect bunt down. Can I send the right-handed batter up? Because I don't like your chance. I don't like how you're thinking. Anyway, it was a gift of gifts. And when you're talking about all the stars and galaxies, we should come up with an acronym for that. I think we're going to be using a lot. That's part of it. Not having Hader in is part of it. Losing the ball in the sun where other people aren't losing the sun is part of it. The ball hitting the second base bag is part of it. There's a whole lineage here of things that you just are saying to yourself. I said to Marion, the Phillies are going to go to the World Series. That's the bottom line here. And Harper delivers. She goes, how do you know that? I said, I did know that. You just start to feel that's the outcome, right? Just insane. And now we got a very good team waiting for us. Let's talk Houston Astros, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, here's an amazing fact, though, too. 4 times teams have gone into the World Series undefeated in the other series preceding that, and all 4 of those teams lost.
Really?
Yeah, heard that. Yeah. By the way, Grissom 40 at bats, 3 home runs, didn't hit a lick, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a good hitter, but you got to at least give him a chance. Swing the bat. But just a weird.
I don't think you concede in baseball, and if you take the bunting average for a hit in Major League Baseball, I'm going to speculate that it's pretty darn low.
No, it should be pretty good. I mean, I haven't looked this year, but last year when we looked, it was very high.
I know you had stuff on this, right?
Yeah, it was high. I mean, this was last year early I looked, but it was high at the time. Yeah, there's a lot of errors that were committed and stuff like that.
So why aren't more people doing it, Wiz?
It's just out of the game. People just have stopped bunting. It's just a lost art. And the pitching's so fast, and it's harder to bunt now.
Yeah.
Just don't see it.
Just to close the loop up on that play, I've looked at it now, 40 times. That's an exaggeration. But I've looked at it a lot. And you can see, but maybe the viewers are getting it right now. I don't know. But you can see where it was 3 feet too far to the pitcher. So I don't know if you want to be on the right or left-hand side of the batter's box, right? Say right or left. But it's 3 feet too far to the middle. If he puts it 3 more feet closer to the line, that is it's another full step. It's a much more difficult throwing angle. The runner is going to get outside the line a little bit and create a little bit of that illusion of interference. That's what he's taught to do. Well, that would be a reversal. You can imagine that. So he does miss it by about 3 feet.
All right, let me ask you this. Both you guys, do you think that was sent in by Melvin? Did the batter do it on his own?
Talk to Coach about it, and Coach blessed it. That's what Melvin says. You trust the guy or not. He said he talked to me about it in the postgame.
Okay.
And he said I was fine with it. Okay. Yeah. But he was also fine not bringing in Hader on Harper. Yeah. I mean, there'll be T-shirts made, Hader on Harper with the people going like this. Like, no, didn't happen, right? That's my T-shirt, right? I want to copyright that.
I'm sure there's a whole lot of people like you and I sitting there saying we're so glad he didn't bring in Hader to face Harper.
I got to go. I mean, we're going back, digress, but I got to go to a stronger vocabulary there because having watched baseball since I was 8-year-old with my dad, and my dad knew baseball, and my grandfather played a little preferred, I've always been a student of the game. So to me, in that spot, I am beside myself that he's not going with his best weapon. The guy that he traded for and gave up 4 good players. The whole thing sets up now. Go win the game, coach, in the 8th inning when you need to stop the rally. There may not be a rally in the 9th. Talk to the Yankees managers about that with Chapman. I mean, you're not going to ignore guys on base and then go to the 9th where there may not be anybody on base. I mean, I don't care who you pitch in the 9th. And by the way, that's not to say that Hader would not have been able to extend into the first batter. It's all pitch count, Coach. You know that. We don't know how many pitches it was going to take to get Harper or the next guy out. Maybe he throws 7, 8. I mean, our guy threw 2. So if he has a very low pitch count, Hader rolls over and gets 3 people in the 9th. So that whole malarkey about, number of outs. It's not number of outs, Coach. It's number of pitches, right? And people say competitive pitches. Well, in that situation, they're all competitive pitches. All right, so we've covered, let's talk about, before we go on, talk about Houston Yankees, let's talk about what a superstar we have in this guy, Harper, man. I mean, talk about a favorable contract, Chad.
Yeah.
$330 million.
Did you see in the celebration with the champagne and John Middleton there? And John Middleton said, I owe you money. people don't realize in this day and age how great a deal that was, where it averages out like $30 million, and other people are getting $40 to $50 million.
Well, the day it happened, that's all he put out everywhere was when you mortgage this thing over, amortize it out, what he's making per year is what you start like at $25 million. This is chicken feed for this guy being a legit superstar. Now, at the time, you didn't know if he was going to go back to his 15-year, was it? That we had the 10 WAR. He had Trout's numbers 1 year, and then took 2 off, got hurt, came back, put up an 8, then goes 4-4. So you didn't know who you're going to get. I think we now know who we have. This guy is Trout. This guy is legitimate top 5 player in baseball, but loves it when the red light's on. He's clutch as hell. And don't you see him, Chad, getting better?
Yeah. I mean,
last year when he got hit in the eye, how hot he was.
Just look at what he's done this year. He came back off that injury. He struggled a little bit to end the season. We were all kind of concerned about him. And then the playoffs came around. He's in a gear right now. He could be in one of the best streaks of his entire career. I mean, he's definitely in the most clutch streak of his career. He's never had this a postseason run like this. But he's hitting, 400 in the playoffs right now?
And the BB's the right center. The BB's the left center. It's all over
11 extra base hits. He set some record, but it's a lot of extra base hits.
And that was only for a 5-game series and not 7.
Yeah, but he's so locked in right now. I would have liked to seen him on Hader just because I know he's going to say front shoulder in. He's not like going to pull a cruck on what's-his-face there. I would have loved to see the matchup skill on skill. We were denied that. I was looking forward to that so much. But no, he's so locked in right now that you just don't feel like people are going to get him out. Pitchers are going to get him out. He's that locked in. And of course he makes all the other players better if they have to worry about him that much, But he stepped up, and let's talk about the Phillies' chemistry. I mean, is it a team that I put out last night, easy to love? And you like that. You don't want a bunch of arrogant players, people you dislike. This is a team that's, Chad, easy to love.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just look at the guys, how they're interacting with the fans. You see, the players are at the bars after these big wins, or celebrating with the fans. The guy I play softball with has got 3 pictures with them. Just they're all over. They're very interactive. They're not being distant. They're really embracing the city, and as a result, it's just making everything that much better. Because not only are they winning, but they're actually celebrating with us. I mean, it's very, very...
Did you see Schwarber fall off the bull?
Yeah.
I don't want my guy on a bull, mechanical bull. If I'm the Phillies brass, I'm running down Patterson Avenue screaming, get Schwarber off the goddamn bull. What the hell?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to see that either. No, with the World Series coming up, I don't want to see him get hurt.
You want your guy on a bull?
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
Al, what are you riding? Well, never mind. You don't want to see your guy... Right?
I'm gonna ride front seat of a car.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about Schwarber riding his bull? It's crazy stuff, right?
But it doesn't surprise me with him. Nothing would surprise.
Somebody told me
thought of
Joey that you turn the bull down.
You told about a slogan a second, just popped into my brain.
Yep, go.
How about a blue collar team in a blue collar town?
Well,
I know
that's a bit used. I mean, I'm just going to love you to death.
But both together.
It's not like you coined that.
Both together. I know. Well, I just thought of it.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, how about this? How about looking at the reaction of the fans, watching them on the news last night come out of the stadium, all ages, all different, every type, for lack of a better word, young, old, race, creed, such a mix of cultures and whatnot enjoying this. Obviously not an Eagles group per se, older, stuff like that. But I just think these are fans between COVID and stuff that's happening in the markets and financial stress, people losing jobs in the restaurant business, and people suffering without enjoyment for 2 years. Didn't it just seem like it was a template for everybody to just catch up with emotions, just lose their mind? That's what it felt like to me. Like everybody cheered harder, waved the towels harder. It just looked to me like it was something we've never seen before, and that's what a lot of people are saying today. Like, we don't want to get into the comparisons with the Eagles or the loudest stadium, but now we got the Phillies doing it. It just looked like it never happened before. Is that legit? Is that a good observation? Is it valid?
I mean, I think someone was saying last week, since you brought it up, I think Citizens Bank Park does have a different sound to it than the Link does.
Yeah, true.
I don't know if it's I'm not qualified to talk about the physics and how sound bounces around, but it just seems like that stadium, because the Link is so. What's the capacity for the Eagles? 60,000.
60-something, yeah.
And the Phillies are 45,000.
A little more intimate.
And it sounds so much louder, though. I think it's just the way everything bounces, and the whole thing was just amazing. I mean, the ballpark has been just unreal. It's just been so electric this postseason. The fans they came storming back to the ballpark, selling out probably every game. It's been an amazing, amazing postseason.
I'm sticking with my, now they're at the World Series, and they could win it. They may not, but I'm sticking with, I set the over-under total for next year's season, average fans per game at 35,000. You over or under now that they're in the World Series?
I think it'll pan out to be under. It'll be in the beginning. It'll be real big, but then you have to see what kind of ball they're playing.
But you're under, Wiz?
And what was the number this year?
35. This year, 28, 29.
I think it'll be under the 35. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I know my Phillies fans better.
You know what? I just thought of something, and to go on what you said about young people, old people. It's a melting pot of different things. How about this? How about the Latin community yesterday, where Suarez was the loser, Suarez won the save, and Alvarado was the winning pitcher?
Yeah.
Hello.
How about this cute story? So we moved tickets around, so it's harder now. You know, we used to have the 12 seats. We got the 4, but you get a couple bonus. So it's difficult. And you got crazy money trying to balance everything out. So we had 2 seats, Sunday's game. Marion says, my mom and my sister have never been to a playoff game. I said, good, they are now. Call them up, get them excited. You have to walk them through the details. They're on the flip phone, the whole funny thing getting there. And they go, and they're out of their mind happy. Go to brunch. We went in. They're just out of their mind. Joyous. They can't believe they're going to a playoff game. Now, they're aware of the forecast isn't great, but the forecast was wrong. They're talking about rain. Looked like it was going to miss us a little more and be over by 4 o'clock, stuff like that. Rain the whole game, right? So they really get impacted. My mother-in-law's in her 80s, and I'm saying to Marion, I'm looking at the fans going, how the heck is she enduring all this? But Diane, the texts are coming in, and it's amazing in the 4th inning, stuff like that. Harper hits the home run. And I yelled at Mary, your mom and sister just saw one of the greatest, most epic moments in Philadelphia postseason history. And Mary goes, they left.
You think they're telling the people at bingo this week what they saw?
They were there for that.
They left. And I was like, and they had to, because it was a lot on my mother-in-law. God bless her for gone. I mean, she's such a, I said to them at brunch 2 weeks ago, do you guys flip back and forth like I do when you're watching regular season, not postseason? No. I said, you watch these games straight through. Yep. I said, oh, wow, that's you really love baseball, because in a regular season game, when they're playing somebody on a Thursday night and it's 3-0, I'm watching my favorite show and checking back and forth. Nope. We keep it on and we watch and say, you know what? You deserve to go to a playoff game. Picked the wrong day, I guess. But they had a lot of the excitement. They enjoyed it, but they left, and Harper hits the home run.
Well, I think it's safe to say at this table right now you have 3 baseball purists. How about that?
Well, yeah, we're at least purists. Yeah, I mean, but purists don't sign off on the designated hitter. We did. Anti-shifts, we are. I think we're together on that.
I'm talking about baseball lifers, just the game itself.
Yeah, but a purist is going to reject, in principle, eliminating the shifts, right? Do what you want. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But the best interest of the game, don't they have to?
I think you do. It's come to that point.
I mean, no, I would rather not see the shifts eliminated. But that's a whole other thing we'll look at next year.
Yep. Anything on the Phillies that we didn't cover? I'm sure Tommy's going to tell me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They had a guy call in. And he said, I went online to try and get a ticket for the World Series when it's coming in Philadelphia. And he said for standing room only, it was $1,054.
Wow.
Our seats,
seriously.
Our seats 116. I'm allowed to say this. Our seats 116, row 3. You touch the dugout. Okay, 4 of them are currently on for $3,800 a piece.
Wow.
So if you're going to get $14,000 a game off of this stock market, okay, college tuition and 3 weddings, you're going to do something to recoup some money, right? To some extent, yeah. So we're going through all that right now. Now,
Wow.
that's not necessarily
Standing room only. I'm on stop up $1,080.
yeah, and that sets the scale. I saw that first because when you log on, they show standing room first. I said, "No matter, we're in." Because if you see 1,000 for standing room, our seats are clearly going to be 4. You know, people are coy though. How they do this? They wait. Like we some of the seats we just sold, we're selling them like 14 hours before game time, but we held our price because otherwise we'll go. We don't really care. But it's that whole thing's a science about how you're going to watch the fluctuation. If the Phillies go 0-2 in Houston, values go down. If they split or go 2-0, values skyrocket, supply and demand, all that stuff. But anyway, let's talk Houston Astros. What a ball club. And they trailed the Yankees last night 3-0. Didn't you think it was all Yankees night?
You thought maybe, but Houston is just so strong all the way through.
Man, dear. I mean, it's
like I said, a few minutes back, they haven't lost a game yet. It's in the playoffs.
yeah.
Oh, what? They're back-to-back sweeps. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
I didn't
that.
realize
That's
that.
what I said to you.
Yeah,
that
right.
4 teams.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged. I did not realize that either.
You know, I remember the Yankees, but it slipped on me the 3-0 to start. Yeah, so 7-0. Wow.
Okay.
Wow, that's
I'm
something.
really brain dead. What were our Phillies? 2-0 against the Cardinals.
Yeah, 2-0, and then we were
3-1.
3-1. So that's 5-1,
And
4-1, which was 9-2.
9-2.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
now somebody,
And last week on the podcast, I did say
he did.
Phillies were going to win this series 4-1.
You are
Ow,
correct,
ow.
sir.
The only prediction I got all year on the Phillies was that one.
Say it again, then.
I'm gonna die.
Even a broken clock.
I will die with that prediction.
TikTok fans, the Whiz Kid predicted it, but hasn't predicted a lot this year.
And now for the World Series,
now
though,
for the World Series.
this is a tough one.
Let's do it at the end of the show or now?
Well, let's do it now. What the
Go.
hell? I'm going to say Phillies
Wow.
in 6. Phillies in 6. 4-2 Phillies.
This is
I
so
think,
hard.
I think we're going to split. I think we're going to win 2 out of 3. So we'll be up 3-2.
Right?
Back to Houston. Whatever that is, we win game 6. That's my prediction.
Yep.
I know it's bold. Houston is mighty good. But we've beaten a lot of good teams this year.
Well, I'm going to try and be a realist, even though I'm hoping the other way. I'm going to say the Astros in 6. The Astros have 4 real good starting pitchers, too, by the way.
Yeah, they have Verlander, their ace, 1.75 ERA over 175 innings pitched. And they have Valdez, 201 innings pitched and a 2.8 ERA this year. And then Christian Javier, 2.54
All this work for
ERA
nothing.
and 148 innings pitched. I mean, they have 3 studs, and I assume their 4th guy is going to be Lance McCullers.
McCullers, yeah.
Only 47 innings
All right.
pitched this year.
Yeah.
I think it was a forearm injury, but a 2.2 ERA when he's been in.
Just to compliment that with the E, not with an I on compliment. You get it? Compliment. Just to compliment that with an E. Here are I'm not going to mention all names because I know too many names, too much stuff. Here are the ERAs of the bullpen: 2.98, 2.38, 1.15, 1.94, 2.27, 2.09, and the high of that group, Hector Neris, you remember him, at 3.72. Add them up, divide by 7. Their bullpen is 2.36, and that is what makes Houston impossible to beat. Their lineup.
Impossible to beat.
Well,
wow.
okay, yeah, all right. That
Improbable.
will probably beat. Yes, you never say impossible, right? But they've added Pena, 25 years old. Alvarez, Jordan. I don't think most people know he's as good as anybody.
Hasn't had a
Trout.
very great
Yeah.
hit in spite of them not getting beat.
I think we referred to him as best hitter in baseball a couple of weeks ago.
All right, I will counter with this because clearly best hitter in baseball shows that it doesn't matter in the postseason because Aaron Judge
Yeah.
laid the biggest egg I've ever seen. Talk about a stiff in the postseason.
That's tragic.
62 home runs be damned. Total stiff in the postseason this year. And we kind of saw that coming with how poor the Yankees played the second half, how much they struck out. We almost I think we actually talked about this.
Keep going.
About how that team struggled. The Phillies, postseason stats, have a better batting average, on base, slugging, and OPS than the Astros. The Astros, though, and a better runs per game. We're at 5.18. They're at 4.42.
Whoa. In postseason, we're 5?
Yep, 5.18.
We had the 8. Okay.
The Astros are 4.42. So, offensively, the Phillies are hands down been better this postseason than the Astros.
6.
On the contrary, the Astros have been better in every pitching category. That's significant. 1.8 ERA for the Astros, 3.06 for the Phillies. Whip's pretty close. Their runs per game allowed, 2.57 for the Astros, 3.18 for the Phillies, and then their Ks per 9, Astros at 11, Phillies at 10. So it's lining up to be a great series. Phillies have been the better offense with noticeably more power. Astros have had the much better pitching, though. Here we are, both teams heading into the World Series.
Great analysis.
Yep, excellent.
You couldn't ask for a better World Series, I think, right now. Than the way both teams have played. These are clearly the two best postseason teams.
Now,
they've just been so on point. It's not like you can look at either team and say, "Oh, they just snuck by. There was some silly play here or there." Game in and game out, the Phillies have been phenomenal, and the Astros speak for themselves at 7-0.
So if you're a baseball purist, Coach, to your point of 8 minutes ago, could have been 12, you start looking at I don't mean secondary as not as important in a collective sense, but the secondary stats. First to third, walks, using pitches up, not striking out, pitchers that strike out when they're 0-2, 1-2. I made a list of those things one day, and it was, believe it or not, 27 elements of baseball not talked about with WAR, but it's in WAR. Batting averages, OPS, all the things that we talk, because a lot of times fans don't want to hear it. They have stats for it, but you start getting to the WRC runs produced plus, and you're going to lose viewers real quick. But the Astros do a lot of all that stuff really well. And defensively, they're smart. They make plays. So that's how, when you're up 3-0 and somebody gets a 9-pitch walk and the next guy flares one on a choke-up bat to right, and the batter's lead was good enough to get to third, and they throw to third because there's no way he could make it to third, but he does because he's quick, and then the trailing runner gets to second. You look at that whole thing and say it started with a damn walk. They do the little things in baseball whiz really well, the Astros.
And what's amazing with him, too, with Altuve going 0 for 25.
Yeah, which you won't do forever.
No.
You won't do forever. So I got to go. My heart has the Phillies winning it in 6. My baseball acumen, brain, whatever, feel says Astros in 6. Boy, do I want to be wrong. And maybe I need to convert that by the end of the podcast to have that positive mist everybody talks about. If I don't say the Phillies, maybe they feel it.
I really wish I had a boo button on this thing right now to say Astros 4-2. I really wish we had. I think I'm looking for the Philly support here. We're going with the Astros.
Phillies is 6.
Well, I want to.
There we go. That's
Phillies
what we
is
want to
6.
hear.
I want to find out.
6.
I want to find out which way you're betting.
on.
Betting. I want to change. I might change my opinion.
Well, obviously you haven't seen the Seafood Tower results. I've won 7 championships betting. Yeah.
I'm talking
What's your prediction?
outside of that thing.
Yeah. What's your prediction?
I said the Astros in 6.
Oh my God! 2 out of 3 Astros in 6.
I am officially doing a 180. I'm Phillies at 6. Let it be known, Delaware Valley.
I hope you're both right now.
I'm with
and
you,
I'm wrong.
Wiz.
I like it.
The
All right.
J-Boy
All right.
factor.
Let's go. Phillies in
But
6.
some of these hitters for the Astros, they're Bregman, the kid before him, Alvarez's name is 25. Pena's 25. Tucker, great player. Of course, you got the guy that's been the
Jordan
Astros
Alvarez.
forever.
Oh, Altuve.
Altuve. Oh man, does he pick it short? They hit cuts. They're crisp. They're really, really good. But the bullpen ends the game. Here's the thing that I used to think was so difficult when he played the Yankees, although it didn't work out in terms of World Series championships, right? When the game was at the 6th inning, when they had Mariano and other guys back there, Java and some other pitchers that were really good, not him, The game was over in the 6th inning. So you had to beat the Yankees by the bottom of the 6th. Otherwise, it was over. And look at their save records, okay, to bear that out. The Houston bullpen makes you think you better have the lead by the 6th inning. Now you're playing a short baseball game. Will the Phillies manage accordingly? Will you do more small ball, stuff like that? Because so far, would you both agree, they've lived very high on the accommodation of luck?
Who? The
Phillies?
Of luck?
They've had their share of good breaks.
Yeah, we have. I mean, look at the ball that Castellanos hits the bag. There's some very awful coaching decisions the Cardinals made early in that postseason.
How about
Last night we talked about the bond, the not bringing Hader in. I think in a sense a lot of teams get that. If you watch every game that we watch the Phillies, we'll find every team has certain aspects of luck
true. Fair
or
point.
bad decision making. So I can't say whether the Phillies have had more of it because I only watch the Phillies closely. I'd follow the other ones, but not nowhere near
Did
as
they
close.
win the game where Soto dropped the ball in the sun? No, they lost. They won that game or lost that game?
That was game 2 of the series. They lost.
They lost it,
Yep.
so that come back.
Yep.
But there were a lot of plays you watch and you said, oh, man, I can't believe that happened. Well, I can't believe Hader didn't come in. I can't believe the guy gave us the second out. It keeps reminding me of the Philadelphia Eagles at 17 where just Lady Luck's on our side all the way through. But skill, certainly great pitching. What was the ERA in the postseason so far, Team Ray?
Phillies are 3.06.
Yep.
3.06.
Yeah, and what's Houston's?
1.88.
Are you sure? That's
I'm positive. Yeah, and they gave up 8 runs on their first game. I don't know how many was. Yeah, but look at after that, it's like 8 runs, 2-0-0-2, and then it's like insane. Look at their scores.
My Lord, at one point in postseason. Now, listen. By the way, I've had a lot of people remind me of my good hitting. I'm not going to get into when that was prevalent and why, but I mean that thesis substantiates itself a million times over. It was like 25, and out of 25 experiences, it was 22 and 3. But it's changing because now in the postseason, it's all elite pitching, and hitters don't really have a chance. That's why you see these batting averages where they are. I mean, Judge did suddenly become a bad hitter. I mean, he hit for average this year, not just home runs, not a Donaldson type of guy. Everybody can't hit in postseason. The pitching, everybody's 98. Once again, can we please put you in our batting cage so all women and children alive today can see what 98 looks like, okay? Because it's impossible. Some hitters like Harper are still feasting. How good does that make the guys, Bud, that are playing above league average, above career stats, off of this 100-mile-an-hour pitching every game? How the heck is Harper doing it to divert back to Harper?
I mean,
The old
Harper
expression, he's locked in now. With
how much skill do you need?
Harper reminds me of Nick Foles in 2017 when the Eagles won the World Series.
I quit the podcast. What?
Yep, he was. I mean, obviously,
Aren't you up and
obviously Harper. Hold on, let me at least explain it.
Harper had a lot more beforehand
He did.
before we realized
He
Nick
did.
Foles did
Brother,
a nice
that's
job.
right.
I won't buy you a fish sandwich after the podcast. I need
The
your
point,
support.
though, is
Nick
that
Foles?
Nick Foles looked possessed in that postseason, and Bryce Harper right now looks absolutely possessed. You can't get the guy
He
out.
didn't play this season.
That's not the point.
Our MVP
point
was the guy that can't
is
play now. Went
The
from
postseason.
from
the
Lower Dakota
postseason.
Hospital.
Both those guys in the postseason, in their years, have been at a absolute different level. And Harper's he's hitting like 430. He didn't hit 430 in the regular season. Well, the point is, this guy is on a different level right now. Something has taken control of his body. He cannot get out. Every ball is hit hard.
This room is out of order. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and thank you for your text. You guys are cute. This is fun. It's a great part of my life with the granddaughter and another thing. Anyway, 609-828-5569. If you agree with my son, the whiz kid, let me know if you're on my side that there's absolutely no comparison to be drawn between Harper and Nick Foles. I'd like to hear from you, too. I'll buy you lunch. I'm good. Am I good at my word?
Certainly.
Capital Grill, right across the street here. How good are the taco sandwiches at PJ's?
PJ's.
Man, dear, they do a nice job. Will you please chime in here? You're starting to piss me off.
No, well, I wanted him to finish the thing where it almost was like an aura. He was possessed of some sort. You know,
he was get a little cheeky, a little red face. Wasn't
he was, though. He was.
Good. We want to hear from Coach.
Yeah, that's a big stretch there. Let me just put it that way. I love him dearly, but that's a big stretch.
Oh, you love him so much. It's such a big stretch. Why can't you tell him he's full of shit? Full of crap.
It's time we rant at this
Chad,
point.
it's not one of the best statements you ever made.
All right, fair enough. I retract.
Are we at rants yet?
Redact it.
Are we at rants yet? Oh,
we are.
I redacted my Phillies.
It's just so great to be a Philadelphia area fan. And, you know, we've said about before, but with the Eagles and with the Phillies and with the Union and with the Flyers for a young team have been playing well. It's just so great to involve, and you see crossover sports with people, the Flyers people rooting for wearing a Flyers jersey and rooting for the Eagles or for the Phillies. It's an unbelievable time.
All right, well, I'm all rave, and I will be continuing to be all rave until the postseason is over, because the Phillies are on the World Series. Last week it was the NLCS. Here we are at the World Series now. There has not been a better time to be a Phillies fan in the past decade than right now, and this is just absolute perfection that we're able to watch this team play at the highest level in the World Series right now. And I heard this morning. The timing of these games is insane. It starts Friday, so we're Friday, Saturday, off Sunday, but the Eagles play.
The Eagles play.
And then we're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, but the Eagles play.
Houston.
And then we're back to Friday, Saturday.
And aren't we going to have
Thursday in Houston?
Aren't we going to have 9 o'clock at night games and all that too?
I don't know the times yet.
8:30, yeah. But that's just part and parcel, man. I mean, what are you going to do? But
it's nuts. I mean, how is it line up that way that every day the Phillies are off, the Eagles play, and then we're Thursday at Houston?
Because they never thought the Phillies would be in this position.
I mean, it seems like fate. This is our year.
Fate.
When you look at this is our fate. This is fate. This is our year.
I changed the Phillies
Fate with Foles. Fate with Foles.
Yes. Fate with Foles.
Yeah.
That was Harper.
All right. Well, give me your coattails. Let me hang on to both of you because I'm just going to do exactly. I mean, I'm not going to break this. You kidding me? First of all, I've been raving. I think, except for one or two. By the way, I think our comrade and colleague Raymond had the Phillies not making postseason. Couple times.
Right. I don't remember what we said.
Rather boisterous. The Phillies are not going to make the postseason, and we love you, Ray. Boy, do we ever miss you. Yeah, I mean, how do you thank the Phillies, the kids that have never been part of a playoff atmosphere and don't know what it's like to see dad and mom lose their composure and scream and jump in a stadium. Sometimes you get hurt doing that. And hug strangers and hit people in the face with the towel, because that happened every time Lauren swung it. You do bizarre, out-of-character stuff when you're in a stadium and bedlam is taking place, and in your heart and mind, body, you've never experienced it before. That's what playoff baseball brings out in the normal person. And it's a new high. It's a high that you're not acquainted with. You don't know what you're going through. You just love it. You can't go into a store. You can't buy it off a shelf. It's just something that is unmatchable. And to thank the Phillies, I mean, just the gods of baseball, thank everything.
It brings the community together.
Yeah,
that might sound a little corny, but because the other stuff you're hearing, because all the crime and so forth, they're trying to get communities together. So something like this, hopefully.
We live in a very polarizing world. So the fact that we can all enjoy the Phillies right now and bring everyone in Philadelphia together is just amazing.
Let's pick one word for what it does. Okay, I'll lead off because I've given 10 seconds of thought. It's galvanizing. Good word?
It's unifying.
It's
Coach?
Euphoric.
All the above.
We'll be back. We could be back Friday. We don't know yet.
When we'll be back, yeah.
But we'll definitely be back next Monday. We could possibly be here Friday. Thank you for the viewerships. The TikTok is going crazy.
And Chuck, what was your number again? You said it pretty fast.
Once more time. Why don't you give my number, Coach?
Oh, you mean go ahead, 609-828-5569.
And we will take you to lunch, but we appreciate your input.
And make sure you check out our website, speakingofsportspod.com, our Twitter, Speaking of Sports podcast,
Why don't
Instagram,
all three of us on this
TikTok.
we'll close out. Why don't all three of us on three yell "Go Phillies"? Can we be corny and do that, Wiz? Real
do
nice
it.
and loud.
Let's do it.
Keep your eye on Chad. He doesn't like to do this stuff real loud. Okay, here we go on three. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Go
Phillies! Close it, baby.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive, left field. It's deep. It's going, and it is gone.
Yes!
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
Are you kidding me? Oh,
His 10th career home run in the postseason, and he may never hit a bigger one.
wow.
4-3 Phillies in the bottom of the 8th inning.
It's crazy. Crazy. Worth every penny of that contract.